back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Caitlyn Clark has been a WNBA disaster. A disaster for the WNBA and for the NBA, who gives welfare checks to the WNBA, right? According to the profits that the WNBA has made since they opened their doors, they have not turned a profit. So these girls are getting paid for doing basically for not turning a profit. I'm not going to say they're working for free or whatever like that, or they're not doing their jobs, but nobody is interested in watching this garbage. And the first people who aren't interested in watching it are women. You see more women at NBA games than WNBA games. So when you hear these players talk about, oh, we're not getting a fair shake, we're not getting this, we're not getting that, go talk to the women of the world. They don't want to watch this nonsense. The only women you really see watch this stuff is, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it because people are going to try to bite my head off. We know the so-called women who watch this stuff. Okay? But let's get out of that subject. Get back into Caitlyn Clark. She has been a disaster. And these guys on social media who has these YouTube channels who all had their pom-poms up for Caitlyn Clark, they're backpedaling now. You got people on ESPN backpedaling now. Tim Legler, why is he even talking for Caitlyn Clark? Why is he even talking? Have you ever seen this guy talk for the WNBA? These guys are broke and they need some money, so they put them in front of a script, a teleprompter, and they read the script, okay? That's why you guys got to give a lot of props to these guys like us who make these videos. We're not scripted. We can make a video and come off the top of the dome. Now, some of these guys on YouTube, these bigger channels, they are scripted. I can just think about what I want to say, not write it down. Just think about a subject, the latest hot news is going on, and just come on my YouTube channel and just freestyle. I don't need a script. The big YouTube channels, maybe like, 100 subs and up, these guys got editors, these guys got graphic guys, these guys got writers, these guys got all these things. And that's cool. I'm not trying to knock them or nothing like that. More power to them. But these are more of your gossip channels. We gossip on this channel, but we also teach numbers in, the history of the NBA and break down real quality sports as far as NBA. And we can get into some NFL and stuff like that. I can get into baseball. But, a lot of people won't even like that. I grew up playing baseball, watching baseball, probably until the early 2000s. I was watching it, and then when they kicked all the American players out, I was finished. That's a whole different subject. But, yeah, the thing with this Caitlyn Clark is they're trying to say, oh, she needs time. She needs time. That's not the problem. And they try to compare. I heard some guys saying, oh, Jordan didn't come in and start winning. LeBron didn't come in and start winning. A lot of great players didn't come in and start winning. What are we talking about? Who said anything about winning? Yes, she got blew out her first two games. We're not talking about that. We're talking about these numbers because she's never been known for winning. She lost back-to-back college championships, and she still was touted as the greatest basketball player of all time in college. So obviously she's not a winner. She's not a winner. Can you name the last person who lost back-to-back championships? Can you? I'm not sure. Look it up. I don't remember any. Or that was great, right? Great. And got this much exposure. So we already know she's not a winner. She just puts up crazy stats. We know that already from her coming out of college. So when she's coming into the WNBA on the worst team, we're not expecting her to win on the worst team in the WNBA. We wasn't expecting LeBron to win on the worst team with the Cavs. But we were expecting, damn, can you make the playoffs, dude? This ain't the 80s or 90s that you just came into as the most hyped player of all time, right? Homie couldn't even make the playoffs. Won't even all-star. Second year, all-star, teammate couldn't make the playoffs. So the expectations And the most hype of all time, this is what we expect, at least for you to make the playoffs, especially in a week, one of the weakest East of all time. So for Caitlyn Clark, the NBA has been a WNBA has been a joke for a while. Nobody knows the competition to be that great, or we would be watching it. This isn't like some people say the WNBA was better 10, 15 years ago. I'm not trying to diss it now, but this ain't even what the whole thing is about. For her to be getting wins, it's about where are your numbers. Your first game, you put up what? 20 points on 33% shooting? That's awful. 10 turnovers. Second game, 9 points. Finally got some boards. 6 assists, 7 boards on 25% shooting. And 14% from three. So we're not talking about her winning. We're talking about her not even performing. And you're trying to tell us on these ridiculous YouTube platforms and on ESPN, give her some time. What do you want us to do? You guys are the ones that hype this woman beyond belief as the greatest WNBA player of all time, the greatest college player of all time. And she ain't even won a championship in college. Got smoked at back-to-back college championships. Smoked. So this ain't our problem for beating up on her. We're just exposing how ridiculous this is. Just imagine if LeBron would have came into the league right now. He would be getting the same kind of treatment. Social media was not like that back then. It really wasn't. As much as they say, oh, he had to deal with social media when he came in. No, he didn't. Not like that. YouTube and IG and Twitter and all that stuff wasn't that. Some of that wasn't even around back then. All we had was YouTube. And nobody was having channels like that. And nobody was criticizing like that. It wasn't until what? The late 2000s. Late 2000s. And that was just on like cold pizza and stuff like that. One no YouTube channels like that beating up LeBron for meltdown and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is, if he would come into the league right now, or a few years ago, whatever, 5 years ago, as the most hyped player of all time, out of high school, called himself the king. And you probably say, oh, what does this got to do with LeBron? I'm just saying, we're in a whole different era of criticism. And he came into the league calling himself the king. And he missed the playoffs his first season. Missed the All-Star game as an All-Star. The second year had an All-Star teammate and missed the playoffs again. Man, they'd be all over this guy. All over LeBron. He got a pass back then because social media wasn't bad. Wasn't big. So now Caitlyn Clark, she's not getting a pass. She's not getting a LeBron James pass that he got in the early 2000s. She's not getting that. And that's why we always go back and we look at LeBron's career in ESPN. They just walk right past it. Act like it never existed in the 2000s. And it really wouldn't bother me if he wasn't the biggest hype of all time. And they try to say, oh, he lived up to all expectations. No, he didn't. And this girl, Caitlyn Clark, she's not living up to expectations for all the hype. Because what they try to do was they try to make us care about something we don't care about and use her to make us care about something we don't care about, which is the WNBA. And they start putting WNBA analysts and former WNBA players on NBA pregame shows and postgame shows on ESPN, which is the worst sports network of all time now, because they don't want to pay nobody. They want cheap labor. And and because the WNBA is a tax write-off, they're putting these women on NBA shows to make us somehow want to go watch the WNBA so that the NBA can make some kind of money, right? They're a tax write-off. You might as well just get some good analysts, get good analysts back on ESPN because you let them all go. Get some good ESPN personalities back because you let them go because you can afford them and afford to write off the WNBA. Why don't you just get rid of the WNBA? I bet they won't tell nobody about that, right? Them having them having to pay all these girls all this money, and they're not turning a profit for the company, so they're writing them off on their taxes. They won't tell nobody that. So everybody can backpedal now and try to lie on ESPN and all these YouTube channels about, oh, give her a chance. Nobody else came in and started winning. We're not talking about winning. We're talking about being competitive. We're talking about you living up to the hype as far as being a player. Because right now you've been overhyped. You're supposed to be the most skilled, the most talented, the best shooter. And you can blame ESPN for doing this. Because I see some channels not even talking about this. Not even talking about her no more after they hyped this girl up like she was the next LeBron James coming into the league. And they're not saying nothing about it now. Ain't saying nothing about it. And you gotta thank the women in the WNBA were offended by this whole thing because you didn't want to promote our league, our good players as being great, but you want to promote a college woman who never even won nothing, lost back-to-back championships as a person that's going to come in and change our league, and you was calling our league trash. There's YouTube channels literally trashing the WNBA all the time, but this woman right here, they was putting her up on the pedestal saying how she was going to change the WNBA and all that. You got to be looking at these YouTube channels as trash because they got more game than her. She was playing against college players, the best of high school players. That's what she was playing against. You was calling their league trash and not wanting to promote them, but her coming into the WNBA ain't going to make their league trash no more. Wow. Just one person. So we're supposed to watch. Is she playing every game on every team? Is that what's going to change the whole WNBA if it was trash before? Just this one person is going to change the league. Even Michael Jordan, if the league was trash, could not change the NBA by himself, which it wasn't when he came in. But I'm just saying, one guy, it wasn't going to happen. So you guys tell me what you think. If you think I'm beating up on her, I'm not. I don't care about her winning, but live up to your expectations.